Hey Charlie, I also live in Dublin. FIFA? Oh man, I can't fucking... Is there nothing chill that I can do? Make your blood boil. I need to eat my dinner as well, you know? Does anyone want me to react to a long video? Geogaster? Daily challenge. Okay, let's try. I could also do the political compass test. That could be fun for everyone. Solitaire sounds good. Solitaire would be great. Whereabouts, Aldenero? I moved back from Castle Bar after living there for 6 months and now live in Sagart. I live in Swords. Solitaire sounds good, but only if you play your cards right. Okay. I will do the political compass test because I think that that's easy enough. I know what all my opinions are on that, so that will be fairly straightforward. I want to move to Swords after this COVID thingy. I work in Sutton Cross, so it'd be super handy. Yeah, Swords is amazing. I really, really, really love it. Like, I would recommend that everyone moves here. No, but it's the best out of the commuter towns because the public transport, like we don't have a train or anything, but all the buses here are class. I think there's 2 private coaches that operate out of this side of Dublin as well. So it's nice. Funnily enough, me and my girlfriend eventually want to move to Shields. Wow. So just over the 0%. So here you should see the chat. Oh, I need to move myself, don't I? Back over here. It means that I can put the stream actually here. You know what you mean? The 102 goes to the airport. Yeah. Swords was excellent crack when I popped down. Yeah, you need to come back, Andy. Well, not now, obviously, because of COVID, but... Okay, if economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Yes, I agree with this. I've been lurking whoever must depart now. See you later, Chardiac. It's been real. I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. Jesus Christ. No one chooses their country at birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. I kind of like... I don't think that you should be proud of your country, like, just in general. I think that that's kind of silly. But I do think that being part of a country, like, I'm part of a country that was the first country, I believe, to democratically vote in favor of gay marriage. And, like, also, we were the first country to I think we were the first country to democratically legalize abortion. Like, it was done by referendum, which I think is pretty cool. But pride, I don't know, do I feel pride? Like, I am happy to be part of a society that democratically voted these things, but I don't know, do I like pride? I'm just gonna leave it at disagree. But I think that there are plenty of non-toxic ways to display nationalism. It's just not really my thing at all. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Okay, obviously not. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. No. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Oh, Jesus. Fuck. I don't know. Like, my gut says no, obviously not. But then... if you didn't have military action that was against international regulations, I always found the patriotism question interesting, but strongly disagree for me. I don't know enough about history to answer this question. Like, I know that Nelson Mandela was involved in like paramilitary activity, and also like hey Charlie, thanks for the follow. I've never been to Wales. I always wanted to go, but fuck me right now. I can't even go more than 5k from my house. Yeah. I agree with the proud of your country question. I wasn't born here in Ireland, but I'm more proud of it than my home country. Wow, that's crazy. That's actually really interesting. I'm glad that Ireland has been such a positive. I'm glad it's been like a positive experience for you. Like, that makes me happy, but not proud. So there you go. So yeah, I don't know. Like, have there been any net good outcomes from military action that defied international law? Like, the Good Friday Agreement probably wouldn't have happened. Ah, man, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to say disagree here, but I can create cases in my head to add some balance to the chat. I'm not proud of anything British apart from some sitcoms, music, and Greg's, honestly. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. No. Now the economy. We're talking attitudes here, not the FTSE index. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. This is such a fucking vague question. Like, what do you mean by that? In general, are people that, like, on a global scale, I feel like this has to be class. I really don't feel like nationality is a thing that would divide somebody more. Like, can somebody... I found that a really tough question because it's so open. Yeah. I'd assume there's tons of stuff that's been dubious with regards to law, but in the end we never really hear about the causes. Yeah, and the other thing is, like, the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, weren't they actually against international law at the time, or did the law that it broke come into effect after it? I'm not sure, but like, I'm pretty sure that there have been lots of just causes that were fought against international regulations. Question is interesting because, for example, let's just say Ireland is great. So the answer to that question would be a yes for an Irish person, but no for someone who moved to Ireland. And both sides love Ireland. They just have to answer differently because of where they came from. Yeah, but I think if you felt like pride of your country, I don't think it would matter to you that you weren't born there. Like, I've seen some... I used to be a Celtic season ticket holder, and I would go to like the away games and stuff like that, and you'd meet all types of characters. Like, I met an English guy who was like born and raised in Birmingham or something like that, but he had like an IRA tattoo because he had Irish parents, but like he had a proper Brummie accent and everything. So like, he would probably identify as Irish, even though he wasn't born there. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I agree with this, but I don't really understand. Like, it's talking about in economic terms, and I think that if you talk about things purely economically, the difference between like the net worth of the net salary of an average Vietnamese person versus the net salary of the average Irish person, it isn't actually their nationality that determines that difference, or the difference in like output or trade agreements between the two countries. It's their class, right? Because your class is essentially what you fit into based on your income. It's like an economic term. So the IRA and Birmingham have a famously harmonious relationship. That's true. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Controlling inflation and controlling unemployment. I'm gonna disagree, because like my understanding of that would be that if everybody is employed in a typical like sense, in a normal, let's say, developed country, you would imagine that inflation would by default be controlled to a normal level, because there wouldn't be such a gulf in like the worth of a product. Like a can of Coke is worth less to a wealthy person because they can afford to go and buy like 100 of them in one go, whereas for like somebody who's just on the poverty line, like it might be a luxury thing. But if everybody is in the workforce, then I don't really see how the price of a can of Coke is going to be. Yeah, it's like controlling inflation means a lot to people with money, but it means fuck all to people struggling. And I'd say, yeah, that's the impression that I get. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Yes, 100%. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. From each according to his ability to each according to... Is that the Karl Marx? Yeah. Free access and distribution of goods. Yeah. I agree with this. It's a Marx quote. Yeah, I thought it was. The freer the market, the freer the people. For fuck's... Man, these are such fucking tough. Yeah, like fundamentally, I guess I do agree with that. Sad reflection of our society. It's something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. Like, not really, because people pay for it out of convenience rather than anything else. Like, I can get drinking water from my tap if I want, but when I buy it in a shop, it's out of... I'm just going to disagree with that, because I can't apply that to, like, I have to apply that to myself, right? What does this compass do? It tells you who you should vote for in your country. It basically just shows you where on the political spectrum you are. I'll show you. So your political compass is divided into like left and right and authoritarian and libertarian. This is what it looks like, and this test basically tells you where you sit on this. So like if you're up here with authoritarian left, it means that you probably advocate strongly for like social programs and stuff like that, but you also believe that like governments should handle pretty much everything, and that this would imply that you put an awful lot of faith in your... It tells you where you fall on the axis of social and economic political... Okay, yes, thank you. Interesting, I should take myself tomorrow. Yeah. I don't... Like, I already know where I am. Hold on. I'm going to be around here, I think. And there's like no point in me really even doing this because everyone knows that, but whatever. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I disagree. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. Oh, man, how do you... Is anyone here... So, like, overall, okay, I agree with this statement. However, I feel like the number of people who fit into this bracket is alarmingly small compared to how many people think people fit into that bracket, if you know what I mean. Like, I know that this question is trying to get me to essentially take a position on wealth equality in society. And, like, I believe that wealth equality is a gap that we should try and bridge. It's currently going like this, and I think that we should work to get it more like this. But at the same time, I don't think that Jeff Bezos should just fucking liquidate his stock and then give his money to charity, because that's just not going to actually make anything better in any real way. And so I think that this question is trying to get me to, like, if I agree with this position, if I agree with this question, I think it forces me into the position of thinking that billionaires shouldn't exist, and I don't necessarily believe that. Wish some answers had I don't really care either way option. Speculation does do a lot for companies that wish to liquidate their assets. It's almost impossible for working on Wall Street has become such a slanderous term that people will scold a janitor. Like, my job, right? If I moved to New York, I would have to work on Wall Street. Like, Wall Street is the only place where my job exists in New York. So I would become somebody who works on Wall Street if I moved to New York. And I fucking hate the fact that like so many people use that to make some kind of a moral judgment about a person. Like, it's so fucking stupid. A lot of the questions are quite broad and you can apply your own logic. Yeah. I'm ex-Wall Street there. I'm proud of it, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. And you're like the least like Wall Streety stereotype person that I know. Like, like I agree with the sentiment here, but I don't agree that it's like a major problem in society, I would say. I'm just going to say agree though. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Like, this is another one where it's like, I don't agree with protectionism in general, because protectionism will basically make your economy weaker. But sometimes we, like, if Russia does something on the world scale where we're all a bit like, whoa, hold on there. Like, if Russia moves a bunch of U-boats into, like, German international waters and then we, in turn, issue sanctions on their oil or whatever, is that protectionism? Like, I'm pretty sure it is. How long does it take to do this questionnaire? I really want to do some. It should take you like 5 or 10 minutes. I guess like I'm just talking about these things out loud because I'm on stream, but when you do them, you will just... I'm going to agree with this because I think what I said is correct. I don't... Let's see. Protectionism is the economic policy of restricting imports from other countries through methods such as tariffs on imported goods and yeah, I think that sometimes it is necessary. I kind of feel like trade agreements are actually like a huge part of what holds things together on the international stage. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. No, the rich are too highly taxed. Okay, that's just not true. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. No, I disagree. Governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Yes, absolutely they should. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. I agree, but not strongly. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. No. All authority should be questioned. Yeah. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Absolutely not. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Fuck off. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I disagree. No, protectionism refers more to subsiding your own production and taxing foreign production to promote national production of stuff and secure jobs. Yeah, but I would still say that sometimes that's okay as well. The US would have a duty to put sanctions. Yeah. Hi, Zoolander. How's it going? All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. No, there's like so much data available on this. Or so many data, I think you're actually supposed to say. Yeah, ignore my comment, I agree with stream is late. Okay. Basically, like, this almost never leads to any net good. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. Man, what are you trying to get me to say with this question? Like, natural means occurring in the natural world. Do puppies keep secrets from their mother dogs? I don't understand this question. Like, what kind of... Is this question trying to get me to say that like if a child is being victimized in some way, that they should keep it to themselves? Or is it trying to get me to say that, like, if a child thinks that they might be gay or something, that they should keep that to themselves? Like, I don't understand this question. Can anyone explain this to me? I don't really think it's bad to have jobs outsourced to China, though. Yeah, neither do I. But that's why I said I only slightly agree. I don't strongly agree. Like, I actually really... I'm, like, way more capitalist than anyone else in this chat, I would imagine. I'm gonna say disagree here because so my thinking is that I think that children should be able to tell their parents anything. I don't know if this wants me to go the other way though, and it's saying that like I just don't really understand. To me, it's just kids keeping stuff they're discovering to themselves. Then like I agree with that though. Yeah, I think kids should not have to tell their parents every single fucking thing. Man, I don't know. This is such a fucking annoying question. First crush, drinking underage. Okay. Okay, I'll just say agree. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Strongly disagree. I think you should be put in jail for life if you have one marijuana. No, I'm kidding. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. The prime function... I thought I was the most capitalist person in this chat. Maybe. I don't know, cities like Detroit are being ruined by motor factories going abroad. Not if you inject all the marijuana at once. Yeah, that's true. Is this trying to get me to like repress the like moral and civic duties taught by schools, or is this like I don't understand. I'm just gonna say I agree because I do think that you should come out of school with sufficient education to walk into a job. So that's my thinking there. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be like, Jesus fucking Christ. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like that's controversial at all. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Fuck me, that's a tough one. What do we mean by able to work? Like, if you're physically able to work, but you are mentally, like, suffering from depression or something else, then, like, I completely disagree with this statement. But if you're fully fit and both mentally and physically, and you simply just don't want to work, I don't feel like tax money should go to you for that. I think that if you make that type of decision, you should probably have yourself propped up by something else. It was also ruined by not being protectionist over other smaller industries and fostering them to be able to replace the auto industry. Kind of difficult to define able. Yeah, completely. Like, I'm gonna say I agree because I feel like if you are 100% like sufficiently mentally healthy and physically fit and you just don't want to work, I don't really feel like tax money should go to you because I just don't really think that that's fair. But then again, right? Then again, if you are like the most talented writer of your generation and you need all of the time in the world to write this amazing book that's going to break down barriers and like define an entire cultural movement, I would be pretty happy for my tax money to go to you while you figure that out. Do you know what I mean? Found this difficult. I think yes, people should work if they can, but then the idea of people should take any job instead of following a passion. Yeah. You can't put that into law, at least not without punishing other people that do deserve it. Yeah, that's true. Like, when I was part of a tech startup that failed really badly, and I was put out of work. And during that time, I decided that I was going to go back into finance. And so I was speaking with multiple job agencies at the time, like doing competency interviews with them so that they could assess me as a candidate and forward me to companies and stuff like that. And my girlfriend at the time was telling me that I should just go to my local supermarket and give them my CV and just take a job with them for the time being to tide me over. And I didn't want to do that for a bunch of reasons. Like, number one, I just didn't want to be... I didn't want to fuck up my like tax bracket and all of that stuff. Like, I didn't want to have to be messing around with different... Like, using my social security for one thing that I would only do for like 2 weeks while another job arose and then like quickly back out of it. Like, it just felt like such a fucking waste for me, so I didn't do that. Now, to be fair, this actually doesn't apply to me at all because I have never in my entire life claimed social security. I've never taken money from the government for anything, so I guess that's kind of, it's irrelevant. Well, fuck them first and foremost. Got to go having a session with Kapach. Oh, nice. Zoolander, enjoy that. And let us know how it goes as well. I'm really interested to hear what kind of stuff you go through. Thing is, historically, those writers had patrons and didn't need the state since the commercial infrastructure wasn't there for writers. Now it is, and they make a living. Yeah, and there are other things that were put in place, like in Ireland in the early 80s or the late 70s, I think it was, we had like a major economic crash. This was when like we saw huge emigration, people moving to America and England and stuff like that. And the government brought in a few different schemes that propped up artists, or things that like basically made life easier for artists. And I know that U2 were one of the first bands to benefit from it, and it was something like for your first few years of income as an artist, you don't get taxed on it, or you pay very little tax relative to what you earn, or something like that. And like that's a place where I'm quite happy for my tax money, like to go a little bit further if it means that we can produce like, you know, something that's really important to culture. As much as we all hate U2 and we're all like, oh well, they should be paying us to listen to it, like they're an era defining band who inspired like pretty much every rock band that came after them. So I don't know, I'm gonna say I agree, because I really like Zoolander's point that you can't put that into a law, and that is true. Like, you have to make like general decisions like this. You can't do it on a case by case. When you are troubled, it is better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. Yes, no, that's stupid. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated in. Okay, like that's just verifiably false. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. Like, no, that's actually fucking so untrue. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. No, disagree. Close to Gandhi, Jesus. Okay, our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Man, like, isn't that in the most technical sense actually true? Like, our civil liberties are technically being curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Do I disagree with that though? Like, I agree that it's happening. Do I disagree with the policy? Like, not really. The US is a cluster. Yeah, completely. Like, I think that that's true, right? But if I were in charge of the laws, I'm gonna say I disagree. But like, but I do kind of agree. I'm gonna disagree. Okay. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Like, this is objectively true, right? Like, this is the reason why fascist dictators become fascist dictators, is because they just input, you know, their policy proposals immediately, and then it gets to work. You don't have to sign a bill. It doesn't have to go. Like, this is an objectively true fact. Like, I assume it's asking me, do I agree with the fucking policy, right? Which, like, I don't agree with it, but it is true. They're slurping too much data in ways that isn't even helpful. Yeah, I know they are, but like, would I do something different? Like, yeah, I probably would. I guess I agree with this. Oh man, I don't know. These are fucking tough. True, but is it an advantage? I mean, it is an advantage if you're the one trying to pass the legislation, right? Like, it is the main advantage. What if the question said our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in efforts against COVID? I disagree. Like, I don't feel like not having to... I guess in the Netherlands, the curfew, like, it's technically a civil liberty, but at the same time, you could just argue the exact opposite thing, right? That you spending more time out in public amongst other people out in public, you're essentially, by like a long-term effect, you're curbing their civil liberties by making them sick or by passing the virus on to them. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna make you go up on the authoritarian. Yeah, I know. I don't agree with policies like this, but like it's a true statement, so I don't fucking know. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Jesus, no, don't agree with that. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Like, quite simply, no. Just because the death penalty is, like, for a whole bunch of reasons, right? Like, it's not a deterrent. It's often people are exonerated posthumously for because of DNA evidence and things like that. But this question, like, yeah, I don't fucking know. I'm just trying to relate the question to something more current. Yeah, I know. But I think that they're different though, Sven. Like, yeah, like they're different things. Like you could say the same thing about the terrorists, right? That someone bringing a bomb on a plane is eroding civil liberties for the people around them. But like, it's different because with COVID, you're doing it unintentionally, and I think intentions are like important in this. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Jesus Christ. I will disagree. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Like, when it says abstract art, I think anything that calls itself art, even if it's the most like all of this is definitely art. I think anything that calls itself art, just in the arena of art, it basically opens up a discussion, right? The discussion can be something as simple as, is this art? Like, but it's still, I don't know, I still think that that's relevant, you know what I mean? I'm gonna strongly disagree with that. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Absolutely not. It's a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. Like, this is true. Like, it's deeply uncomfortable to think about, but it's true. It would be a waste of time to try to rehabilitate Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy or somebody like that, because of their like mental condition, like that latent psychopathy. Like, they are not going to be able to re-enter society. So like, this is true. But if we're implementing policy, I'm going to have to strongly disagree, because I think rehabilitation should be the sole purpose of imprisonment in general. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Fuck off. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Jesus Christ. I don't like anyone who agrees with these things. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Man, how fucking informed on world affairs do you think I am? I don't fucking know if this is true or not. I feel like it's true. Like, stuff that I read stuff that I see on television makes me, like, what was the, like, Shell pipeline? Wow, that's not how you spell pipeline. Shell pipeline Africa. Wasn't this a Shell Nigeria ordered to pay compensation for oil spills? Nigeria wants Shell to open major pipeline. Are they definitely exploit? Oh man, I don't fucking know. I'm literally not educated on this topic. Can someone tell me an example? I took a criminology class and we learned about the chronic 6%, which is a proportion of delinquents responsible for over 75% of the crime. They are generally seen as the ones who are beyond rehabilitation. Yeah, I don't really care about not care. That sounds so combative where it shouldn't. I don't have a strong interest in criminology and like criminal psychology in general, and I'm not one of those people who watches like serial killer documentaries and shit like that. But there's a YouTube channel called Jim Can't Swim, and there's just something about that content. It's like it's fit the like perfect sweet spot for me. For the interest in like the case itself, the narration, and then the psychology aspect of it. And I know from seeing some of the people on that and the case as it's laid out, and then the actual psychological element of it, like some of those people are beyond rehabilitation. Like it is unfortunately true. Monsanto can fuck off and die. Who or what is Monsanto? And the question could be difficult as well. I would say that what China is doing in Africa at the moment, I would consider that to be exploitation. And so for that reason, I'll just say that I agree with this, but I can't really strongly agree because it's not something that I'm well read on. US company that GMO'd wheat. Okay. Oh yeah, and didn't Nestle, was it Nestle? Didn't one of those companies also have some really fucking horrible shit revealed? Then sued farmers whose crops didn't pay Monsanto, found their genetic strains in their fields. Holy shit. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Oh man. This one, like, Jesus Christ. I really need to know what this question is asking me, because like I feel like if your position is that you're just going to sit at home all day, play video games, and you don't want to actually participate in society in any meaningful way, and you just want to claim benefits, and like you're the person that we spoke about in the previous question where it's like you're perfectly fit to work and all of that stuff, I feel like that is an immature like personality trait, and I feel like making peace with the establishment would be a good way towards setting about maturity. All consumer goods companies have bodies in the closet. Yeah, that's true. Like I completely agree with that. Like and that's why in the previous question I said that I strongly agreed that they need to be regulated. I actually think that most, like every company needs to be heavily regulated. But this is specifically of developing countries, right? So it's really hard. Like I just simply do not have the education for this. Like this question, I think that having an anti-establishment facet to your mentality can be really important. It can be really helpful in the way that you look at the world. You can definitely be anti-establishment and still mature. So I guess I disagree with this. But I do feel like a lot of people need to have a serious fucking look at the world and how things work, and like cop onto themselves, and stop just thinking that being anti-establishment is a personality. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like sometimes anti-establishment types just remind me of atheists on the internet who actively seek out any kind of fucking discussion about God just so that they can come in and say, yeah, well, God isn't real. Like a lot of anti-establishment types are like that, where you can make any good case for the establishment and say like the establishment is on this, and they'll always go back to, yeah, well, we shouldn't fucking trust them and all this. Like I fucking hate that so much. So I'll put just disagree here because I think you can be both, like I said. But yeah, anyway. If you got you that okay, you'll find these propositions on religion agrees. Astrology accurately explains many things. Okay. You cannot be moral without being religious. Charity is better than social security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Like this can be true, okay? There are cases where this is true. Like the kids of Flint, Michigan, the students of Flint, Michigan were all given laptops by Elon Musk. Like that was better than social security. Like Elon Musk's charitable donation to schools in Flint was literally better than the social security options that were available to them. However, if I'm implementing policy and I have to rely on billionaires to fill my schools with technology and equipment to make them to make them capable of passing their fucking exams or whatever, then that is an absolutely horrible way of running society. So I strongly disagree. Some people are naturally unlucky. I mean, like that's true, right? Isn't that true? Like, I feel like, man. Okay, I'm gonna disagree because I think that this position is trying to get me to say that like, well, you can't help everyone, and I don't agree with that. So I'll disagree. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. I don't give a oh well. There are some religious values that are good, right? I'll just say disagree. Some 19-year-old just being sent off for Southampton 2 minutes into his Prem debut. Holy shit. What a bio. Finally, a look at sex. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Strongly agree with that. No, obviously not. Same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the... Yeah. Of course. Why is it worded in such... Why is there a negative in the fucking question? Wouldn't you just say that they should be allowed to adopt it? Like, why have you fucking loaded that in such a weird way? Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Yeah, of course. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Yeah, of course. No one can feel naturally homosexual. Okay. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. I don't think that that's the case. I'm trying to think of like, have there been any instances where a celebrity has like made lewd comments on daytime television that I wouldn't want my kids to hear? And I can't even think of anything like in that realm, so I'm just going to simply disagree with this one. Hey, Peter Lucha, how you doing? I just don't think look is a real thing. Yeah, you know what? Well, it's too late because that was on the previous one. But look isn't a real thing. That's true. What happened? That L became homophobic? I don't know. I've put all of these pro-homosexual fucking things into my political compass test, so I'm not sure. Okay, let's see where I stand. The instruction we explain the inadequacy of the traditional. If we recognize that this is essentially an economic line, so far as it goes, for example, Stalin, Pol Pot, blah blah blah, both economic. Yeah, okay. Do we care? I don't think we do. Gandhi, Stalin, Hitler, Thatcher, Friedman. Wow, Jesus. I'm much more south than I thought I was gonna be. I was expecting to be somewhere around here. That's interesting. That's actually really crazy to me because I am like actually an advocate for like a bigger government, and like I'm an advocate for really tight government regulations on corporations and things like that. But no, that's interesting to know. I will say that particular test weights you towards lib left. Like, I don't really bother with I don't really feel like I bother with labels. I've been called, I have a socialist friend who is, like, for want of a better word, like extremely socialist, and he can be very preachy, and he always calls me and neoliberal, and I was curious about what that meant, and I looked it up, and I found that it's just a thing that people call. It's just a thing that socialists call anyone they disagree with. It's frequently criticized for having a bias. Limerick position. Excuse me? Well, that tells me... Oh, neolibs. Here's the neolibs here. They've arrived. What would this... Can this call me like a sock dem or a fucking... Can this tell me what I am so that I don't have to think for myself? Or do I have to figure it all out? I just look at the party that aligns most with my views. Labels don't really matter. Left-wing extremist stream confirmed. Rage Man, have you done this political compass bullshit? I'd be interested to see what you got on it. To be honest, I don't really like the test. I don't really feel like it did a good job at like actually assessing my views on things. I don't even think that some of the questions were clear. It's possible that on the homepage I missed out some text that says what you should do or how you should interpret the questions. But I'm extremely not surprised. I kind of thought that I'd be closer to the center. But oh well. I've always just called myself a liberal, simply. Like, I believe in the principles of liberalism. So there you have it. It turns out that I'm actually a communist. Should have thought. A word about neocons and neolibs. US neoconservatives, with their commitment to high military spending and global assertion of national values, tend to be more authoritarian than hard right. By contrast, neoliberals, opposed to such moral leadership and more especially the ensuing demands on the taxpayer, belong a further right but less authoritarian region. Paradoxically, the free market in a neocon parlance allows for the large-scale subsidy of the military-industrial complex, a considerable degree of corporate welfare and protectionism when deemed in the national interest. These are viewed by neolibs as impediments to the unfettered market forces that they champion. Maybe I am a neolib. Tell me what this word means. Neoliberalism is contemporarily used to refer to market-oriented reform policies such as eliminating price controls, deregulating capital markets. Okay, well then, I do agree with lowering trade barriers, but I think that markets should be regulated to control for externalities. I don't know if that's the same thing or not. Reducing through privatization and austerity state influence in the economy. No, then I can't be a neolib. No way. Okay, well that was interesting. I did at some point. I believe I got center and a bit more libertarian, but I don't like the quiz. It has such... Yeah, it does have such absolutist questions. It really fucking does. Weren't you quite far from the left, though? More than you say you think you are. Join the commie gang. It means no regulation. A final word on communism. Fuck communism. There's one thing that I'm really happy I can say about myself is that I never, ever, ever thought that communism was a good idea. Even in my, like, more pro-socialist days, I was still able to see that communism is bad. So that's good. That's a win. I actually think international trade should not always be encouraged. It has some negative effects on the environment. If something is able to be produced locally, it should be local. Yeah, that's why I say that. That's why I say that regulation should control for externalities. Like one main probably the biggest externality when it comes to capitalism and free markets is climate change and the fact that capitalism can't solve for climate change. So I think that we should have. It will ask, like, do you like the military-industrial complex, which is directly responsible for the death of millions? Like, you can't say yes. Yeah, this one wasn't so bad, Rage Man. I'm definitely on the libertarian side. I'm no fan of communism, but I love the USSR kits from Euro 88. Oh, man, have you ever fucking... I know we've actually done this on the... Jesus, look at me. I type in like a fucking... This music is just... incredible. I love it so much. There's something about it that's like, I don't even know how to explain it. Melancholic Soviet wave, and it shows these buildings, and it's all like just sad music and purple tints, like for what might have been and what ultimately was. Anyways, c'est irrelevant. Alright, well, that's that. So that was fun. Nice bit of political compassing for the day. Anyway, I'm gonna head. Good night, all. Have a lovely evening. See you later, Jordy. Things overall are moving toward much more government interferences in the economy without entirely tying it. The classic free market party in the Netherlands now also has in their election program that the market can't always be let entirely loose. I have a cheap copy of it that I got from an El Salvador-based eBay seller. Oh. Yeah, I would say that, like, in spite of all of my capitalism championing, I also, like, I'm not fucking educated. I'm not like a politically like literate person, I would say. And one of the main reasons, like, I can comfortably talk about things that I know about, but then oftentimes if I ever like debate or, you know, get into heated discussions with people about politics, they'll start saying things that I suspect aren't true, but I can't call people on it. Like, so yeah, I don't know. What do we do now? How long have I been streaming? 2 hours, 22 minutes. In spite of all my capitalism championing, I'm still just a rat in the cage. I made a joke the other day about Rage Man and that song, and I forget what it was. I think it was like, despite all my rage, I'm still just a rage man. You're more politically knowledgeable than a lot of people, in my opinion. Elle, what's your stance on career politicians? Like, in general, like, I don't hold this view that, like, you know, for example, one of the main attacks people use on Joe Biden is like, he's been in office 47 years and he hasn't got anything done. Like, it's such bullshit. Like, no one who says that has ever even Googled, like, Joe Biden career record. Do you know what I mean? If somebody, generally speaking, when people get into politics, it's actually not because they just want power, or they want to, like, consolidate power, or they want, like, an easy life, like, whatever. Like, people get into politics because they actually care about things, and, like, they actually want to incite change and stuff like that. And I feel like people become corrupted by just how bureaucratic the system like, or whatever. I don't really know. I guess to simply answer your question, I don't really have a stance on them. Like, if people want to do that, like, fair enough. I know that Bernie Sanders has, like, actually done a lot of things in office that, like, I really like and support. And I can't fucking think of any of them to hand right now. But I know that he's, like, a very good politician in the sense that he understands the politics and the way that it works with Congress and everything. There's a lot of push and pull. There's give and take. You have to compromise, and you get nowhere by just being headstrong and stuff like that. And so, like, yeah, I don't fucking know. I believe there are plenty of career politicians who are, like, upstanding, shining beacons of morality. And most of their faults can lie in the system itself. I'd say I'm against career politicians on the whole. My girlfriend has a relative who is one, and he's a dick, but there are a lot of exceptions to the rule, so I won't die on that hill. I mean, yeah, that would be a silly one. You're more politically knowledgeable than a lot of people. On that point, Dan, the only reason why, like, I feel like sometimes I can quite confidently talk about different aspects of politics because I actually think that, and it's a shame that I've kind of come around to this position as my popularity has like dwindled to its like lowest possible point, but I actually feel like I have some kind of responsibility to like not mislead people. And so I watch a lot of political YouTube and political Twitch like all day when I'm working and stuff like that. I'll always have some stream on or some like fucking, I don't know if it's like Kyle Kalinske or Vosh or David Pacman, or even on the other side I listen to Ben Shapiro and Crowder and all of those guys. And like I fucking hate how many people will just say things that are not true. Like it drives me up the fucking wall. This GameStop Wall Street thing is like the greatest example of it. Where I saw this video from Kyle Kalinske the other day where he was saying like, this is proof that the system is rigged because these hedge funds are giving Robinhood $1 billion to stop selling GameStop shares. And like, it's a fucking lie. Like what he said is a complete fucking lie. It's not true at all. It's a complete misrepresentation of it's literally the opposite of the facts. And he told that lie because it suits his political agenda and because it's what his audience wants to hear. And now all of his audience, like impressionable teenagers, are going to hear that and they're going to fucking believe that. And like, it's not fucking true. And it just drives me fucking mad. I would hate to have somebody come away from my stream believing something that I thought it was okay to say because I believed that the ends justified the means or whatever. Like, I think that's such... it drives me mad. Hey, Ty, how's it going? Swell, Nero, am I right? Yes. Trial, Dino, am I right? I like saying Crowder like the chowder scene in The Simpsons. Crowder. Didn't Robin Hood just run out of shares? Something like that, yeah. Like, yeah, I don't want to fucking get into it because it's too close to work. But today, Revolut have announced that they won't be selling. You can't purchase AMC or GameStop stock through Revolut. But Revolut were clever about it because they just straight up said it's because their intermediary can't supply the shares anymore. Yeah, they didn't have enough cash to cover the liquid demand. Yeah, exactly. Like, they literally got the money from the hedge fund so that they could prop up the fucking sale of more share, or the purchase of more shares. Like, literally the opposite fucking thing to what Kyle Kalinske said. It's nuts to me that, like, he lives in a world where a hedge fund can legitimately turn to a smaller broker and say, here's 1 billion if you stop selling this stock. Like, it's just not how the fucking thing works at all. There's so much, you get so much clout and like social cred for just saying the system's rigged and just straight up making shit up about it. Like, it drives me fucking crazy. And it's just making people sadder as well. Like, it's making the world more gloomy for the people who buy into that shit, you know what I mean? You're a little more left and a little bit more lib than me. Yeah, I'm surprised by that, Charlie. I actually thought that I was going to be around here. I'm really surprised that I'm like this far down. But it doesn't really matter. I didn't comment on the whole GameStop shit because, like, I'd say at least 95% of the people have an incredibly loose understanding of the stock market. Yeah, and the reason why everyone is talking about it is because it's monetarily advantageous to do so. It gets you clicks on the internet when you do. So that's why everyone is fucking talking about it and none of them have a fucking clue what they're on about, and it's driving me crazy. I came in for a chill stream and this is very not chill. I'm now ready to fight someone to the death. Ty, if I give you like 25 euros, Ty, if I gift you 5 more subs, will you please beat all the Metal Gears on Metal Gear Solid 2 for me, because it's destroying my soul trying to do it, and I need help. We'll do it in the next stream though. We'll get it done. Okay, this has been a very long political compass test. I must eat my dinner. It's right here. I have it next to me. And I have been putting it off all stream. I will not. I will only play the best MGS. Alright, fuck you then. Thought you were my friend, but clearly not. Alright, let's look for a person to raid. I think I'm going to end here. because it's politically advantageous for me to end my stream here. Tradiac is streaming. I think it makes perfect sense to raid. He's playing GeoGuessr, so we can all join and play GeoGuessr with Tradiac. Let's do that. Here, thanks a lot for hanging out in the stream, everybody. I really appreciate it. It was a slightly longer stream today, but it's been a long time coming because I've been so slow and bad at getting over COVID. So yeah, we will have more streams in the future. Thanks Rageman, Lloydie and Sven for resubbing, and thanks Charlie for the follow as well. I appreciate that. And so good night, so long, and I'll see you in the next life, my friends. Go say hi to Tradiac and join his GeoGuessr game if he plays one. Okay, bye byes.